Meeting of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen for Tuesday, June 20th. The first thing that we're going to do tonight is adopt our agenda. I have a couple of changes for you. The first change is instead of adjourning at 26, we are going to recess to a recessed meeting that will be Thursday at 3 o'clock. At 12A, I'm going to ask you to add the reappointment of 3 members to the Reserve and Trust Commission. And I believe those are all my changes. Do you have anything else? No? Any board members, department heads have anything else? No? All right, so could I have a motion to accept the agenda?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Quick mayor's report. We have been diligently working on the budget, which is not a lot of fun, but if we just had a money whip, it would be great. But we are really trying to figure out how to squeeze every penny and find ways to continue to make our quality of life even better than it already is. We had the Bomber softball tournament last week, which was 125 teams from 16 states. So M-Trade Park has been hopping, and when you think it's a dead weekend in Oxford and come to the square and wonder why in the world there is not a parking spot, that's why, because we are having things like, 125 teams at M-Trade Park. We've also been having the Summer Sunset Series on Sunday evenings, and so I encourage any of you that have not been to those to check it out. Mr. Taylor and Alderman Morgan and I will be in Biloxi. Are you going to MML? Okay, and Keisha? I'm sorry, Keisha. Keisha Howell Atkinson will also be at MML next week in Biloxi, where we'll have the opportunity to visit with mayors and aldermen and city council members from across the state. And it's always one of those things where you get there and you certainly realize how blessed you are to live in Oxford, Mississippi. When we start sharing around the table what our biggest challenges are, by the time it gets to me, I'm sometimes embarrassed to talk because other towns don't have police cars that start, don't have money to repair roads, don't have water and sewer that works on a regular basis, and so we are very blessed. So I appreciate those aldermen attending as well. And I'm going to ask my friend Keisha to tell us about the most successful Juneteenth that we've ever hosted in Oxford, Mississippi.
Yes, we had our 17th annual Juneteenth this Saturday. We had record numbers, 57 vendors, which was a record number. We think we had between 1,500 and 2,000 people going and coming. We did our first Miss Juneteenth pageant, and she won the state pageant, so she's going to Atlanta in October to represent Oxford and the state.
Wonderful.
So it was awesome. We've nothing but way to go, great job, leave it. I also want to thank you and this board for supporting Juneteenth, OPD, OFD, Greg, Amberlyn, Jamie, I don't want to forget anybody, Shane, that was called and you got it, didn't ask questions, just let's make it happen. And we're looking forward to next year.
Wonderful. Thank you for all the hard work that goes into that every year. Next, we'll authorize the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting on June 6th.
I so move.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Ask you to authorize the approval of accounts for all city departments.
Move we pay the bills.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ask you to consider the consent agenda.
Move till we consider the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We have got quite a few retirements tonight, which always are come with mixed feelings, because we have a lot of institutional knowledge walking out the door tonight as we go through these different retirement resolutions. And so I'm going to ask Rusty Raspberry to come up to read the retirement resolution for Oxford Police Department employee Brian Russell, or BR as we know him.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Brian, you want to come up?
There are a lot of people that are probably happy to see BR retire. All the square business owners are like, thank you, Jesus.
That is the best, Mayor.
Brian, I would like to read the resolution on behalf of the city of Oxford.
Whereas Brian Russell has been a valued member of the City of Oxford, serving the Oxford Police Department Parking Division for nearly 6 years, and whereas Brian Russell, with his knowledge and experience, has helped supervise, train, and educate many new parking officers during his employment in the Parking Division. Whereas Brian Russell greatly assisted in bringing the Parking Division to its current state of success, and therefore, whereas Brian Russell has been a recognizable figure around the Oxford Square and will be deeply missed.
By the mayor.
Whereas Brian Russell has made a mark on the City of Oxford Police Department, Parking Division, on the entire Oxford community with his dedicated service, courtesy, and respect that will be remembered for years to come. Therefore, it be resolved that the Mayor and Board of Aldermen for the City of Oxford express their sincere appreciation and gratitude to Brian Russell for his work on behalf of the Oxford Police Department and the City of Oxford.
VR, do you want to say anything? Well, I will say that there are very few people who would want the job that BR has been doing for years. And BR has done that job with consistency and with fairness. As long as everybody gets a ticket, nobody can be mad, right? And I have appreciated so much knowing that you are dealing with people professionally and doing exactly what we were counting on you to do, and we really will miss you. Thank you, BR.
Thank you, Bill.
Could I have a motion to accept that retirement resolution?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, we have adopt a retirement resolution for Oxford Police Department employee Johnny Sossaman. I'm gonna be a smart aleck after, not before. He's looking at me like I know it's coming.
All right, Johnny, here's the resolution on behalf of the city. Whereas Johnny Sossman has been a valued member of the City of Oxford, diligently serving the Oxford Police Department for over 15 years since his hire in 2008. And whereas Johnny Sossman started his service as a patrol officer, where he served as a field training officer and ultimately director of code enforcement. And whereas Johnny Sossman, during his time in code enforcement, helped grow the once small unit into a successful PACE unit that maintains a high level of code enforcement for the City of Oxford. And whereas Johnny Sossman has been recognized with awards over the years, including the Mayor's Award of the Year and the Officer of the Month. Whereas Johnny Sossman was a supervisor, officer, and friend to the employees of the Oxford Police Department. And whereas Johnny Sossman has made a mark on the City of Oxford Police Department and the entire Oxford community with his dedicated service and will be remembered for years to come. Therefore, be it resolved that the Mayor and Board of Aldermen of the City of Oxford express their sincere appreciation and gratitude to Johnny Sossman for his work on behalf of the Oxford Police Department and the City of Oxford.
I figure you do want to say something.
I'll say this a little bit something.
Uh-huh.
I came to Oxford after being overseas in a bad place and everything, and came to a city that's, I've seen almost double in size, and a lot of things, the department's almost doubled in size. Went through a couple of annexes. My main goal was to leave it better than I found it. I think I did that and everything.
You have done that.
It was an honor working with the whole city, all the city departments, and everything. Being in the job I had, I worked closely with everybody. You don't have a better one anywhere in the state of the city.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Johnny. Johnny is one that if you want something handled, you call Johnny Sossman. And he's gonna go handle it. And code enforcement, kind of like parking enforcement, is not always everybody's favorite person to see coming. But I will tell you this, I always knew that when Johnny Sossman answered the phone and said, "What you need?" that he was gonna handle it, whatever it was. And so, Johnny, we thank you so much for your dedication to the city, and we will miss you. All right, could I have a motion to adopt that retirement resolution?
Motion made. Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? All right, Patton, if you want to come up and read the retirement resolution for Oxford Fire Department employee Timmy Dickinson.
Here's the resolution on behalf of the city. Whereas Battalion Chief Dickinson has been a valued member of the Oxford Fire Department since his hire on April 10th, 1995, establishing himself as an invaluable resource and respected, beloved fixture among not only his fellow workers, but the entire Oxford Fire and Emergency Services community. And whereas Chief Dickinson has instilled the quality of commitment by example to his firefighters, and they have reciprocated by devoting their time and skills to protecting the property and personal safety of others. And whereas Chief Dickinson has been a positive personal influence to those firefighters of the Oxford Fire Department. And whereas Chief Dickinson's fireground leadership has always been a model for all firefighters to aspire to. And whereas Chief Dickinson has made the mark on the city of Oxford through his service to his citizens, has positively touched many lives, and that his legacy will be remembered and celebrated for many years to come. Therefore, be it resolved that the Mayor and Board of Aldermen of the City of Oxford express their sincere appreciation and gratitude for his work on behalf of the community to Battalion Chief Timmy Dickinson.
Thanks, Jordan. I appreciate the opportunity to work for the city, to serve the people living in the community, the county also, and just want to thank the mayor and board for the support y'all shown the department over the years. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Timmy, and thank you for mentoring so many people through the fire department, and I believe you're leaving it in good hands, and we thank you for all of your dedication to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Could I have a motion?
Motion made.
All in favor? Any opposed? And now a retirement resolution for Oxford Fire Department employee Garfield Owens.
This is a resolution on behalf of the city. Whereas Captain Garfield Owens has been a valued member of the Oxford Fire Department since his hire on October 21st, 1998, establishing himself as an invaluable resource and respected, beloved fixture among not only his fellow workers, but the entire Oxford Fire and Emergency Services community. And whereas Captain Owens has instilled the quality of commitment by example to his firefighters, and they have reciprocated by devoting their time and skills to protecting the property and personal safety of others. And whereas Captain Owens has been a positive personal influence to the firefighters of the Oxford Fire Department, and whereas Captain Owens' fireground leadership has always been a model for the firefighters to aspire to, and whereas Captain Owens has made a mark on the city of Oxford through his service to his citizens, has positively touched many lives, and that his legacy will be remembered and celebrated for many years to come. Therefore, be it resolved that the Mayor and Board of Aldermen of the City of Oxford express their sincere appreciation and gratitude for his work on behalf of the community. Captain Garfield Owens.
First of all, I had to go back to the age 30. I'm 57 now. When I first got hired by the city, it was with the City of Oxford Bus Shop. And that was one of my goals, is to get into a retirement system so I can really have something to be devoted to and to take care of my family. And I'm so thankful, starting from, I believe it was Mayor Leslie, up until Mayor Tannehill, and all the Board of Aldermen that have supported the fire department. And I have to agree with you, when you go to meetings and when we go to the cabinet and sit around that table and talk about the resources that everybody have, they're not blessed like Oxford. We are truly blessed, and it is a great place to live, and I'm glad that I live in Oxford, Mississippi.
Thank you, Garfield. We certainly are glad you live in Oxford, Mississippi too, and hope you won't be a stranger. I know that there are a whole lot of folks that'll still be leaning on all four of you. You're gonna have to change your cell phone numbers probably before it's over with. But Alderman Bailey just added it up, and that's 74 years of experience going out the door tonight. And that is a lot of knowledge, and the amount of dedication and compassion that you have all had to Oxford citizens, we just can't thank you enough. So go enjoy your retirement and don't be strangers. Okay, can I have a motion to accept that resolution?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Now I will ask the board to adopt a proclamation celebrating the 150th anniversary of the founding of Delta Gamma. And I know that we have some Delta Gammas in the audience tonight for us to read and adopt this proclamation. This is a proclamation to recognize July 1st as the 150th anniversary celebration of the founding of Delta Gamma fraternity. Whereas the proclamation to recognize July 1st as the 150th anniversary celebration of the founding of Delta Gamma fraternity, whereas on July 1st, 2023, the Delta Gamma fraternity held its homecoming celebration in Oxford of its 150th anniversary. Having been founded in Oxford in 1873, the celebration included a tour of significant Delta Gamma historic sites in the city of Oxford. Whereas Delta Gamma was conceived by the founders, Anna Boyd, Mary Comfort, and Eva Webb, as a society of mutual helpfulness. It has and continues to live up to its motto, do good. Whereas over the past 150 years, Delta Gamma has continued to uphold the values listed in Article 2 of their Constitution of fostering high ideals of friendship among women, promoting their educational and cultural interests, creating a true sense of social responsibility, and developing in their members the best qualities of character. Whereas on July 1st, 2023, we celebrate and recognize the 150-year-long history and good works of Delta Gamma. Therefore, be it resolved that the City of Oxford formally recognizes July 1st, 2023 as the 150th anniversary celebration of the founding of Delta Gamma fraternity. Be it further resolved that a copy of this proclamation be spread upon the minutes of the City of Oxford. Could I have a motion to accept this proclamation?
Motion made. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, Delta Gammas. We thank you for what your sorority means to the campus community and to the Oxford community, for the hours of service to the community, for all of the days that you participate in different public service events. And I have had the privilege of meeting quite a few Delta Gammas as I've been in this role, and am always impressed when I do. So thank you all, and I hope that your celebration is wonderful. All right. Next on our agenda is to appoint a trustee to the Municipal Reserve and Trust Committee. I present to you for consideration Peyton Ashley.
Make that motion. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? At 12A, we added to reappoint 3 members to the Municipal Reserve and Trust Committee. Those 3 members are Rick Addy, Bob Dowdy, and Pat Patterson.
So moved.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. All right, at this time, Megan, you can come forward. Megan is here to talk to us and request permission to amend the Animal Resource Center budget to purchase a vehicle. So come on up and tell us where we are, Megan.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Board of Aldermen. My name is Megan Cocaine. I'm the Assistant Director of the Oxford Animal Resource Center, and I am requesting today to amend our current budget to purchase a vehicle for the Oxford ARC. The Mayor and the Board, you guys, have already agreed that the ARC could purchase a vehicle in the fiscal year 2022 to 2023 if we raise the donations to cover half of the cost of the vehicle.
Right.
So at that time, we estimated the vehicle to be around $60,000. Which meant that we would raise $30,000 and you guys would provide, match it at $30,000 as well.
Right.
So, but now the costs have increased, the vehicle total now is $90,000. But as of today, we have successfully raised over $45,000 in donations, which means that the additional cost of the city would only be approximately $15,000. So I'm requesting to amend the budget to account for the increased vehicle price.
First of all, congratulations on that level of fundraising. Great job. That is huge. And we did at last year when we were doing our budget, we said, you know, we know there are people that want to contribute to our new Animal Resource Center, and so we kind of challenged y'all to meet us halfway in raising those dollars. And so thank you to you and your whole team for the work that went into raising that. So we would need to amend their budget to reflect that our portion would be 15, or do we amend it to the 90,000 and then get paid back?
We're gonna amend it to the 90.
Okay.
And we'll also amend to add a transfer in for the
Okay.
donation fund.
Okay.
Additional
Okay.
match.
So,
Either way, I make a motion, we do it. Second.
all right, any questions? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Wonderful, good work. Good work. All right, request permission to approve and authorize the mayor to sign the SRO agreement for the 2023-2024 school year.
Mayor, the agreement's fundamentally the same SRO agreement that we've been utilizing. We did add one thing this year where the school is going to help fund a little stipend for an assistant lead, which will be our corporal that's already in the school. So with that minor addition, everything else is fairly standard. I'd ask that you approve that.
All right. Anybody have any questions or comments? If not, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Request permission to approve and authorize the mayor to sign a mutual aid agreement between the Oxford Police Department, Lafayette County Sheriff's Department, and the University of Mississippi Police Department.
Again, standard kind of operating procedure for all of us. The MOU had not been updated with the change with the new sheriff and the new changes on campus, so we were able to update and get the appropriate people listed in there. And once we sign it, then it'll go, of course, to the board of supervisors and then on to the university to sign. So I'd request that we sign.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Abatement hearing for property located at 627 Piedmont Drive. Saban has been working so hard on our parking and code enforcement division, and this is not the fun part, I know, but we appreciate you staying on top of this problem.
So as you stated, 627 Piedmont, we believe, is in violation of section 8721, the weeds prohibited, grass in excess of 12 inches. We've made several attempts to contact the owner, sent certified letters with no response, and posted notices stating that the abatement hearing would be today. I don't believe the owner is here.
Is the owner of this property here? Okay, that'd be a no.
Okay. So if this address is found in violation, we have recommendations from the PACE unit on that matter.
Pope?
Yeah, I know the board knows, but it gets a public hearing, so just sort of summarize what the issues are, so that's on the record.
So over the course of the last 3 years, we've gotten constant complaints from the neighbors and everybody in the neighborhood about the condition of the property, anywhere from the roof to the grass, just the whole area around the house. Right now, I'd estimate the grass at 2 feet the whole way around the property. Shrubs are growing onto the house. The roof looks like it has a giant hole in it. Water's coming in. You can't actually get into the house.
You can see mold all around on the house.
Mold, I believe.
Saving out the times you've gone by, have you ever seen like a car or anything there?
No, the owner of the property lives in Tennessee. So
Do we know if he's living?
yes.
Okay.
Yes, he does not. Officer Salzman has spoken to him in the past, and he's flat out said he's not going to do anything with it. We still go through the proper process. We've sent certified letters to that address just in case, and the address registered on file in Tennessee, and stuck a public notice sign in the front yard. no response. But this is a property that I believe we've had to maintain, we as in the city, for the last 3 years, just mowing it a couple of times each year.
And all this information is in the record and was included as part of the package that was sent to Alderman for their consideration.
Yes, it was. So what do you need from us?
So we recommend, if this property is found in violation by the mayor and board, we've obtained a quote from a service that will go maintain the property right now for $250. We would like to assess that to the property owner, in addition to impose the penalty not to exceed $1,500 or 50% of the actual cost to maintain. This is a property that we're gonna probably have to do 3 to 4 times over the course of the year.
It just goes on the tax bill, correct?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Pope, anything to add before we vote? All right. Anybody have a question or want to make a motion?
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
And for the record, that motion is to follow his recommendation, make the finding that he has proposed to the board.
Absolutely.
That's what he just did.
That's right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, a second reading and public hearing for proposed ordinance amending Chapter 2 Buildings Fee Schedules to add Section 22-4 fees and to modify Sections 22-108, 22-190, 22-223, and Sections 261 and 263. Hello, Mr. Mizell.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Yes, this is the second reading on the amending the code from Chapter 22 of the building, removing all the fee schedules from the ordinance, turning them into policy due to the resolution if adopted, to give us the power to make changes as needed to prevent us from going through ordinance review. Also, just a few reminders on a few changes of the fees. We've only increased the minimum permit fee from 25 to 50. We've implemented a residential plan review fee for $150. We've also increased the commercial plan review fee from a max of $250 to $1,250. And with the resolution, which will then allow us to adopt the 2023 February building valuation chart, which we're currently operating off of the August 2018.
So tonight is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience who is here to speak regarding this change in ordinance? All right, have we received any comments, Jonathan, in your office? Or
no, ma'am.
Emails regarding this? Any aldermen have anything that you?
Just tell me one more time why we went on the commercial from $250 to $1,250.
So at that time, because it was set at 50% of the building permit with a max of $250.
That's right, okay.
And so we got to looking at Pine Lake as an example, Rainer Eye Clinic, Bow Ridge, those type projects. For a plan review fee, we were only getting $250 because of the max.
Gotcha.
All right, so would you all like to vote tonight or wait 2 weeks to vote?
I make a motion that we approve the ordinance change.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Consider a request to vacate the subdivision plat for Oxford Farms Phase 9, Case 2365, for property located at Oxford Way, being further identified as PPINs 34553 and 19223.
Hey, good evening.
Mr. Raquette, good evening.
2018, the mayor and board approved a subdivision for Oxford Farms Phase 9. It was a 2-lot subdivision, and that was to facilitate a multifamily housing development. At the time, it was called Aspen Heights. That project never went forward. The developer did not record the subdivision, and honestly, he thought that he didn't need to do anything with it, and thought he could re-subdivide it. Unfortunately, that's not the process. So he's requesting to vacate that plat, and as such, because they haven't transferred any of the property, they haven't recorded, they don't believe that there are any adversely affected or directly interested parties in this. So they are requesting to vacate that subdivision, and we have no objections.
Move we approve.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, first reading of an ordinance modifying the municipal code, chapters 3498 and Appendix A, Land Development Code. Ben?
You bet. We're making a few changes we're proposing to make a few changes to the Land Development Code. Number one, over the past few months, we've been evaluating the requirements for daycares. And as you know, we are growing and there's definitely a need for more daycares. We were looking at the standards and our requirements. We felt that they were too restrictive. For example, there was a requirement that a daycare had to have 3 acres. Which didn't seem to make sense. We thought that was probably more targeting like a nursing home or a large, maybe age-restricted facility. So we're proposing these modifications to have new standards specific to daycares. Additionally, over the past, I would say, year, the city has been working with Matt Nielsen, who's been a consultant to us. He's an arborist and has been evaluating a variety of different things related to our ordinances, landscaping, tree mitigation requirements. In addition to that, Judy and myself and Robert, we have been evaluating the requirements that we have in our ordinance. One thing that we did find is that when we adopted Vision 2037 back in 2017, the landscaping requirements were found in Chapter 34 of the municipal code, and you know, one of the whole goals was to incorporate all of those development standards into one document. So anybody that's trying to develop their property, they go to one document, they can see all what the requirements are. As such, many, if not most, of the requirements of Chapter 34 were already incorporated into the land development code, but Chapter 34 was never eliminated. And so we have evaluated Chapter 34. In a couple instances, we have incorporated things into the Article 5 of the Land Development Code, which is the landscaping provisions, to adjust that. Additionally, in Chapter 98, there were some language in there about dealing with landscaping on municipal property and the right-of-way and the requirements associated with that. And a lot of these were put in place, you know, many years ago, and you know, now we have, I think, new practices. We have people that are, you know, more than capable and knowledgeable on how to handle certain situations and with respect to trees, et cetera. I know Greg has been evaluating having an arborist either through contract or as a part-time employee or a full-time employee. And so, you know, it takes into consideration that in the process for working with trees and landscaping on municipal property. And lastly, inside of the Land Development Code, we did propose some modifications to like the trees that we want to see planted, you know, in our parking lots. We also have seen trees that we don't want to have planted in our parking lot, and so as such, we have incorporated a do not plant tree list. So kind of like in the back parking lot when all the crepe myrtles are blooming and you know, they flower and they shed on people's cars. Maybe does it make sense to have those type of trees? So Matt Nielsen's kind of helped us refine that list, which is inside of the appendix, and we've incorporated many of those changes. So we've evaluated this with the Ordinance Review Committee, also with the Tree Board, and this is just a first reading at this point.
And this is a first reading, so at our next meeting on July the 5th, we will have a second reading and a public hearing on those changes. Does anyone have any questions for Ben, though, tonight? All right. Thank you, sir. Request approval for preliminary plat for case 2969 Oxford Farms LLC for Oxford Farms Phase 10 located on Oxford Way, being further just identified as PPINs 16804 and 34543. Robert?
Right. And this and the next case considered the plat that you all just vacated. So this is about 12 acres located northwest of the roundabout on Oxford Way and is the site of the reserve at Oxford Farms. This request pertains to a single lot subdivision to facilitate that phase of Oxford Farms, and that single lot meets the dimensional requirements for the underlying zoning. Engineering provided comments for this in the staff report. At the June 12th Planning Commission meeting, the commission recommended approval for the request for preliminary plat, and staff recommends approval with the 6 conditions that are listed in the memo.
Move we approve with the conditions.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Request approval for a preliminary plat for case 2970, also in Oxford Farms. This one's in Phase 11, located on Oxford Way, being further identified as PPIN 7948 and 19223.
Okay, and this is 57.6 acres located north of Oxford Way, between the roundabout and the western edge of Stillwater on the north side of the archive. Same thing, a single lot subdivision. It meets the dimensional requirements. Planning Commission recommended approval, and we recommend approval with the 6 conditions that are in the memo.
Motion made to approve with conditions.
All in favor? Any opposed? All right, thank you, Robert. Request permission to advertise for bids for the renovation of the Oxford Enterprise Center as the future home of the Oxford Police Department. Mark?
We're pushing ahead on the new police station. We looked at our schedule yesterday. We updated. We have the construction documents. They'll be complete mid-July, so less than a month, July 14th. We are planning on advertising twice in August. And then if we stay on schedule, we'll open bids the last week in August. So I'll plan on being back in September. The bids come in to ask for approval for those bids. So just as a reminder, we're using the construction manager form of bidding in contrast to the general contractor approach. So the CM method will break out each of the packages into prime packages, and we will be responsible for providing builder's risk insurance, and we'll be using ICM to manage the project. So tonight we're just asking for permission to advertise for those packages.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? All right, request permission to advertise for bids for the construction of a metal building at the city shop.
So this is in your board pack. Oxford Utilities is in need of a large metal storage building to store the vac jet pump truck. During the winter months, the vac jet truck has to be stored off-site. So we're working with Oxford Utilities, Rob's here, to construct a 95 by 45 metal shop that can accommodate the truck at the location of Molly Bar with the rest of the vehicles. We did receive a special accession and a site plan approved from the Planning Commission last week for this structure. So tonight we're just asking, and also the money has been budgeted as well. So we're just asking for permission to advertise.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. The board will now consider an executive session.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.